All right, just wrapped up Media Days here at the National Championship game. This is crazy. There's a legitimate buzz in the air for the finale of the first ever 12-team playoff. My guy Cato on the ones and twos behind the camera. We're rocking and rolling. We're running all around trying to get every interview we can. Those are all on the On3 YouTube channel, by the way, so make sure you're subscribed. I told you, ton of content happening here throughout the national title weekend. More content coming before the game itself, even after we wrap up here with this Media Days reaction. But Media Days are a funny thing, man. They're kind of a lot of people watching and observing and taking a lot from a little. But that's, I mean, like, we've talked about this game now for what, give or take, coming up on a little over a week. It's going to be 10 days by the time we actually, have the game played. So some takeaways from today's Media Days. You had Ohio State go first with their media availability, and then we got to Notre Dame. Let's start with Ohio State. The overall vibe, for whatever you want to take from that, is just extremely locked in, but not in a way where they seem tight. Like Ohio State, in every single sense of this Media Days, was just kind of like, yep, this is the next thing for us to do to us win a national championship. Does that make sense? It wasn't this thing where Ohio State is walking in and they're like, yeah, we got to go win the Media Day, but it also wasn't a thing where they're super loose and having a bunch of, extracurriculars with the Media Day. It was just like a locked-in, calm vibe. Talked to Jeremiah Smith, Caleb Downs, and Will Howard. Across all three of those guys, the sentiment was they feel like they belong in this spot. They didn't say that necessarily with their words, but with their demeanor, you could tell they were very much so business as usual. We expect to win this game. And that was kind of the feel. It was a very professional feeling from Ohio State across the board. That was the first takeaway. Second takeaway is these are some big freaking dudes, man. Like, you watch the broadcast on your television screen, and it does it justice to a degree, but not nearly the size of these individuals is coming through your television screen, if that makes sense. Like, we talked to Jeremiah Smith on the roster, listed at 215, which for a receiver, I don't care what year you are, true freshman or otherwise, that is absurd. You kind of size him up when you're standing next to him, and you're like, one, he's feels like taller than 6'3", but he told us he's 225. To be 6'3", 225, and run the way that he does, and beat man coverage the way that he does, like that, there's something to that. Also interesting, go watch the Jeremiah Smith interview, but he made sure to mention, hey, they said they want to play man coverage, good for them. Essentially saying we're gonna see about how they do in that man coverage. So I think you get the feel it's maybe a personal chord struck there, just my observation. But overall, just to put a bow on this Ohio State opinion, very locked in, business as usual, check it off the list. We can't wait for Monday, was kind of the vibe. Now, Notre Dame, I was very curious to see what we got from them with the body language side. Again, taking a lot from a little, put as much stock into this as you want. But the past 2 years we've been at this national championship Media Days, you have the team that's not favored, whether it be Washington last year or TCU the year before, they seem a little bit tight. They seem a little bit like, okay, I don't know. Not in a lacking confidence sense, but you're wondering exactly where the psyche is when they seem a little bit less gregarious or extroverted like a Media Day would call for. That wasn't Notre Dame at all. They were laid back. They were having a good time. You got guys at different podiums giving a hard time to their teammates, asking them questions. Like, this was a very, very much so a group that I think in the same way Ohio State feels like they belong. Notre Dame, they'll be 8.5-point dogs. That doesn't seem to resonate with them by any stretch of the imagination. This is a team that's been doubted all year long since the NIU game, and they feel like they belong in this spot. They feel like they deserve to be here, and they do deserve to be here, but they seem very accustomed to that underdog role, and it doesn't seem like an underdog mentality, at least here at Media Days. Seem very, very comfortable in their own skin. Also worth noting, Jeremiah Love, I know the knee, we're all monitoring that. He had a chance now during our interview, per his SID, to take a seat and kind of rest while we did the conversation because he's on his feet all day long. He's like, no, I'm cool to stand. So, again, take as much stock into that as you want to, but probably not the worst thing for Notre Dame fans. We're not doctors over here, but, again, if my knee hurt, I might sit down throughout the course of the Media Days. Food for thought, but it's been awesome, man. It builds the suspense. It builds the electricity. And, two fan bases that showed out at Media Days here. It's cleared out by now, but, Ohio State clearly traveled well for this. Notre Dame clearly traveled well for this, and it's going to be a good time. One last thought here. Both quarterbacks have that franchise, face the franchise kind of vibe to him. Like Riley Leonard, man, we were lucky to get a conversation with him. I don't think he got past the 5-foot mark when it comes to the depth of this room. He was getting cornered throughout the entire day, as was Will Howard. But, both guys seem very poised for the moment, have had ups and downs, but feel like they're in a good mental space heading into this thing. They're ready to get this thing going, man, as are we. So, again, make sure you are subscribed. A ton of content coming your way on the On3 YouTube channel. From us here on the Hard Count and from Andy and Ari on 3, so lock in. We're going to have a lot on the way for you. We appreciate you. We love y'all. As always, we're going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time here in Atlanta.